Appreciate you participating today. Housekeeping item, if you volunteered to help with more than one career cluster, you'll get that assignment from Pam well before the meeting, so you can prepare with that in mind with the cluster that you're assigned to. This is my personal favorite program all year. You've probably heard me say that before, because I've seen firsthand that this does have a life-changing effect for some of the students that will be participating. And I want you to be sure you understand the audience that'll be at your tables on Tuesdays. These are sophomores and juniors in high school. They come from backgrounds ranging from the county's most affluent high school to the most impoverished high schools. And they'll be a little bit off balance. This will be an unfamiliar out-of-body experience for many of these folks in several ways. For those who drive, this may be their first time driving in a parking garage. For many, it'll be the first time they've been inside a property like the Weston Poinsett, and it may be the first time they've been in downtown Greenville in the case of a few. So for many, this will be the first event like a large Rotary meeting that they've experienced in their lifetime. So it's up to us as table hosts and facilitators. Let's make the day as comfortable as possible. And we can do that by being really clear about what we expect from the students and how they can make the most out of this great experience. There's one other thing that's important for you. Now, I realize that you're regular attendees at meetings, but as you know, there will be an attendant guarding the entrance to the garage, reserving the garage for us to have sufficient parking for Career Day. So if you see somebody turning away customers at the garage entrance, just go ahead and pull up, tell them you're there for Rotary, and they'll let you in. You'll be good to go. So I'd like to take a look at the facilitator's guide. Most of you received it a few minutes ago, but we'll go through it together on the screen, and you may have questions as we go. If that's the case, please either put up your hand in the video or put up your hand in Zoom. Pam will call on you and interrupt me, and we'll take those questions as we go. So let's have a look. All right. So what we're out to do here is to provide an interchange, an interactive event that these students get to talk and they get to listen. There will be one or more experienced mentors, two or more, other than you, one or more experienced mentors is the roundtable. One's the facilitator, and that person manages the session, and the other person is a resource to help with the questions, answers, et cetera, and providing their experience in their personal career. So the lead person, the facilitator, will be designated on the packets that you get. And I'm encouraging you to follow this format mostly because it works. And the idea there is to start with a quick round of introductions. And let's introduce the students first, then ourselves second, not necessarily the order we're sitting in. So you have a little introduction script, something like, I'd like to start with a quick round of introductions here. And if you would, we'll just go around the table. Each of you tell us your name, tell us where you're from or where you've grown up, tell us your school and your year. And then if you have a dream job in mind, what is that? Or are you sure that's something you don't want to do? And that's your choice, interchangeable. And then perhaps how you got interested in this particular topic. And let's start with you, Stan. They'll all have name badges on, so you'll be able to call on them personally. And what that does is it just gets everybody a little bit comfortable. That dream job is kind of an icebreaker sort of question, so they get an opportunity to, kind of let us have a little bit of view into themselves. And everybody has some idea of who else is around the table. Then we want to introduce ourselves. And we also want to provide a little bit of enough background that it provides a little bit of the first stage of the lesson. So ask the facilitator and mentors, explain the introduction format. I'd like you to give us your name, where you're from, where you grew up, a little bit about your family. If you're a Rotarian, how and when you joined Rotary, and then tell us a little bit about your business and career. And these bullet points are here for you to prepare in advance. Now, that will require some preparation to keep these down to 3 minutes. So some ideas that I particularly like, maybe the educational track, they're always interested in that. What did you have to go to school to learn to do this? Just a quick list, not every item on your resume, but a quick list of the 4 or 5 major stops on your career resume up to this point. And then one I like a lot is this idea of lucky breaks. I don't know about you, but in my career, I had a number of things just happen to me that were just terrifically fortunate. And so, yeah, let people understand that luck does play a role in career progress, and you want to be able to recognize luck when it falls across your path. And then something about maybe the lay of the land. These kids don't understand how our economic system works overall. So if in your particular business or job, how does that fit into the overall field? For example, Roger was once upon a time a manager of a plant making automotive parts. Well, that's a different job than the one he started with, which was in engineering in an automotive company. So you kind of explain how the engineering department in an automotive company plays into the design of the car, and then that goes into the manufacturing of the car. And the plant manager, of course, has a whole lot of balls in the air, things that they operate and manage on a day-to-day basis to make the plant run. Now, you won't be able to cover all these bullets in 3 minutes. So pick and choose your spots and make the most out of your introduction. Help them understand a little bit about your qualifications, the fact that you've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, you've earned a seat at the table. Then here's something that is, I think, really essential to making this work. That the problem is most people try to just throw it open to anybody have any questions. And what happens if you do that is that whatever the first question is and whatever rabbit trail the first student goes down will kind of sets the tone for the whole day. So a way to avoid that is this. They'll have a worksheet and ask them to pull out their worksheet. You'll be able to hand those out of your packets probably at the time and prompt them a little bit. What we'd like you to do is make your own list of things you'd like to learn today. We want you to go away with what you came for. So make a list of things that you're curious about, questions about the industry overall, questions about the job, questions about the education requirements, uncertainties, things you've heard from other people about this. Are they true? Are they not? Things that you might cause you some concern. And it gives them a chance to think a little bit freely and to get the 3 or 4 or 5 things that are in their minds on paper, because those things blow right out of their minds after the first round of conversation starts. So then what you can do is just round robin using those lists. Each student gets to ask one of their questions, and then the mentors answer and comment and teach a little bit. Keep your answers short. You want to be doing sound bites here, but keep your answers short. But basically, each of the adults, mentors at the table should have an opportunity, if they have something to say, to respond to each one of those students' questions, because they will come from slightly different directions. My personal favorite ever was a question that a student asked that asked something about, do you have any suggestions as far as resumes are concerned? And my associate, the other Rotarian at the table, piped up and said, 0 typos on the resume or the cover letter. And I hope those kids took that with them.
By the way, Terry, they will have, the kids will have a piece of paper with the questions on it. So right. To give them prompts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just go around the table, limit each of the students to 1 question, so everybody gets a chance to talk. And what that does, of course, is it keeps the more assertive students from dominating the table, and it keeps the less assertive students from not saying anything the whole day. Then just go as many rounds as you need. Now, if each of those, if you got 5, 6 students at the table, and each of those have 4 or 5 things that they're interested in, you can make it clear that it's okay to pass. If somebody else has already asked their question, unless they have something else, they can pass on that. And then and then you and the other facilitators might want to have some ideas in your hip pocket that you could talk about. And maybe, if for whatever reason you run out of things that are on their lists, then you can go to the things on your list. Or perhaps you can go back to this list of business and career bullet points, and maybe you as the facilitator can prompt the other folks at the table to answer some of those kinds of questions if they didn't come up in their introduction. A word about the time budget. The event concludes at 3 p.m. and that means 3 p.m.
Actually, Terry,
Yes.
Green County Technical Charter High needs to leave at 2:30. They
You will
promised
have to work
3
that
o'clock,
out
but
between now and then.
yeah, yeah. So I'll let you, when I send an email to everybody telling you what your cluster is, I'll let you know which students will have to leave early. I'll do
Okay.
that before Monday, sometime today, tomorrow, or Saturday.
And on your list of students that you'll have in your packet, you'll know which students are from which schools. They'll also be on their name badges. So you'll need to release those from Greenville Tech Charter School at 2:30, meaning that you probably need to pause at, say, 25 after and ask those students, just the ones that are leaving, to pick up the evaluation and make some notes in the forms that are provided. It asks questions like, what was your major takeaway from today? Things that you'd suggest for future events, things you liked about this event, that sort of thing. And yeah, that paper thing is a little bit retro, but the fact is that if we get their off the top of their head perceptions right then while they're fresh, we'll get a lot better feedback and information than if we sent them something online after the fact. Then as you conclude the larger group at just before 3, just do one more round and ask each student to share maybe one meaningful or surprising takeaway that they had. Now, that is one of the questions on their eval, so they should already have thought about that. And the idea there is, again, just to basically wrap it up, give each person around the table an opportunity to speak one more time. Thank them for coming and wish them well, and then collect the evals and give them to Pam. So that's pretty straightforward. And now you don't have to do it this way. If you want to do something different, that's okay. This is somewhat tried and proven in facilitating these kinds of events in much larger audiences. And I'd encourage you to have them particularly do the part about where they go heads down for a few minutes and think about what they came for. Make sure that they have some ideas of questions they want to ask before you start, because if you don't, what happens is the questions they wanted to ask will fly right out of their heads in basically the first round of conversations.
So I'd like to mention that this year it's a slightly different group of students. The public schools, the Greenville County Public Schools, had such a notorious no-show rate that we only invited 50, and they're only sending 20. So this year we have Greenville Tech Charter High. They're sending about 40. We have Legacy Early College. They're sending 10 or 11, and we have Christ Church Episcopal School sending about 10. So it's a slightly different makeup. I think the Christ Church kids will have been to the Weston at some point probably, but the the Legacy Early College, probably not. So just so you know, it's going to be a pretty wide range of experience.
How are the students selected?
The counselors selected them. Yeah, I think they use and somebody knows more about this than I do, their college planning guide to decide which cluster they should be in. Yeah, the Greenville County Charter High School or Greenville Tech Charter High School is awesome. Those kids are just amazing. I haven't dealt with the CCS kids yet, except for when my son went there, or the Legacy Early College, but I'm sure they'll be good too. They will be probably more engaged. Now, we do have, with several of the public school students, they have a parent or guardian coming with them. And we are asking the parents and guardians to sit at the back of the room, not with the students, because we want the students to engage with you and each other. We don't want them to be asking questions they think their parents want them to be asking. And I'm going to try to get in the way of them participating in the shadowing or the roundtables too. It's fine that they be there. They have to have somebody with them. I understand that, but not as part of the discussion. So I'll try to help with that as much as I can. Another thing to mention, if you've got any tchotchkes to bring, kids love it. We'll have paper for them to write on, but they could have a tablet, or if you've got pens or erasers or anything, you can either bring enough for your group, and I will send you each how large your group is, or for the whole room if you want. We have about 95 students registered and about 20 chaperones registered.
Something that should be added to the guide, I'll get this done, and that is, please do, if you have them, bring business cards.
Hmm.
So they feel like that they could get back in touch with you if they wished.
Okay, I think I've covered my stuff. As far as the parking garage is concerned, if you've had trouble with it before, you may have to go to the very top outside. And if you go to the far right, as far from the hotel as possible, lots of times there are spaces over there.
Their questions, comments, uncertainties.
Other suggestions?
Okay. Thanks to all of you for joining us today, and thanks particularly for your help on Tuesday. This is going to be a great day, and when it's all over, you'll remember yet another reason why you're in Rotary. Thanks a lot.
Right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Pam and Terry.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.